We live in a time with more comfort and convenience than almost any generation before us. You can order food without leaving your bed. You can talk to someone on the other side of the world. You have access to almost all human knowledge in your pocket. And still, so many people wake up with a quiet heaviness, a sense that life is busy but meaningless, connected but lonely, full of stimulation but empty of satisfaction. Maybe you know this feeling. You scroll, you work, you reply, you consume. But late at night, when the noise finally stops, there is a question that whispers, "Is this it?" Today, I want to explore why modern life often feels so empty, even when it looks full. Not to complain about the world, but to understand it so you can move through it with more awareness and intention. By the way, if you enjoy using English to think more deeply about yourself and the world, you can subscribe and keep these reflections close to your routine. Let us begin. First, we need to understand something fundamental. Human beings were not designed for the kind of life we live now. For most of our history, we lived in small groups, moved our bodies all day, had direct contact with nature, and depended on each other to survive. You knew the faces of your community, the seasons of the land, the role you played, the stories of your ancestors. Now, many people live in big cities or isolated apartments, sit in front of screens all day, and interact with hundreds of people online but very few in real life. The body, the mind, and the heart are confused. Let us look at some forces that quietly create this emptiness. First force: endless stimulation, shallow satisfaction. Modern life offers constant stimulation. Notifications, videos, news, memes, messages, games. Your brain receives more information in one day than some people in the past received in months. But here's the trick. Most of this stimulation is designed to grab your attention, not to give you meaning. You get small hits of dopamine every time something new appears on your screen. A like, a comment, a new video, a new message. Your brain says, "This feels good. Give me more." But these micro pleasures are like eating sugar all day. They give you energy for a moment, then leave you tired and hungry again. You are full of stimulation, but starving for depth. So when things become quiet, instead of feeling peaceful, you feel empty, because you have been feeding your mind entertainment, not nourishment. Second force: comparison at industrial scale. Before social media, you compared yourself to people you actually knew. Your neighbors, your classmates, your colleagues. Now, you compare yourself to millions of strangers carefully showing the best 3% of their lives, their bodies, their vacations, their careers, their relationships, their houses, their success. You rarely see their fights, their insecurities, their debts, their loneliness, their boring days. So your brain does something unfair. It compares your normal life to their highlight reel, your messy kitchen to their perfect photos, your complicated relationship to their romantic posts, your small achievements to their big announcements. And the result is a quiet feeling of not enough, not successful enough, not attractive enough, not interesting enough, not ahead enough. Living under constant comparison erodes your ability to enjoy your own path. Even when something good happens to you, you think, but they have more. They did it earlier. They did it better. This creates a background emptiness. You can never fully relax into your own life. Third force: disconnected success. Modern culture teaches a specific formula: Study. Work hard, make money, buy things, climb the ladder. This can bring comfort and some security. It is not evil. But many people follow this formula without ever asking, success for what? Money for what? Status for what? You chase a promotion, get it, celebrate for a few days, then feel strangely flat. You buy a new phone, new clothes, a new car, feel excited for a week, then return to the same inner state. Because achievement without a deeper why quickly becomes empty. You can be very successful and still feel lost. You wake up and think, I am doing what I was told to do, but I do not know why any of this matters. Fourth force, weakened real community. Our ancestors needed each other to hunt, to build, to raise children, to defend the group, to share food. Now, you can technically survive with very little real community. You can order food, you can work remotely, you can entertain yourself alone, you can live in a city without knowing your neighbors' names. At first, this looks like freedom. No obligations, no one bothering me. I can do everything alone. But the human nervous system was built for connection. We need to be seen, to belong, to feel that we matter in a group. Without this, your life can look full of interactions but feel emotionally empty. Chat messages cannot fully replace eye contact and shared spaces. Likes cannot replace being held when you are breaking. And when community is weak, every problem feels heavier because you are carrying it alone. Fifth force, lack of silence and inner life. Modern life is loud, outside and inside. Music in your ears, videos in your eyes, thoughts always running. Many people feel uncomfortable with silence. The moment there is a gap, they grab their phone. But without silence, you lose contact with your inner world. You do not hear what you really feel, what you really want, what you are afraid of, what you need to grieve, what you need to change. You only hear the next piece of content. When you are disconnected from yourself, life feels hollow. You are living, but you do not feel that you are the one actually living it. You are reacting, not choosing. Sixth force. Everything is optional, so everything feels fragile. In traditional societies, many things were decided for you. Your religion, your profession, your role in the family. This had problems, but it also gave a strong sense of structure. Now you can choose almost everything. What to believe, where to live, what to work with, who to be with, how to dress. This is amazing, but also overwhelming. Every choice carries the fear. What if I choose wrong? You pick one thing and wonder about the others. You commit and immediately think about alternatives. This constant feeling that life could always be different makes it hard to fully inhabit the life you actually have. You live in a universe of options, but struggle to feel rooted. Seventh force, meaning crisis. For many people in the past, meaning was anchored in religion, tradition, or a clear collective struggle. Now many old structures have weakened. Some people still find deep meaning in faith, others do not. But what is common is that many individuals feel alone with the question, what is my life for? If everything is random, if there is no larger story, no shared purpose, then it is easy to fall into nihilism, cynicism, or chronic distraction, to avoid asking the question at all. When there is no sense of meaning, pleasure loses its sweetness over time, and pain loses its dignity. Life becomes a sequence of tasks and escapes. Now, this all sounds heavy, But understanding these forces is the first step to not being dominated by them. The goal is not to hate modern life. There are incredible gifts in the world we live in. The goal is to live inside this world without letting it empty you. So what can you actually do? Let us talk about some counter moves. Move 1. Replace some stimulation with depth. You do not need to delete all your apps and move to the mountains. But you can make small changes. For example, instead of scrolling for 30 minutes on random content, watch one long video or lecture that truly interests you. Instead of jumping between 10 conversations, have one deeper talk with one person. Instead of filling every empty minute, choose a few minutes of doing one thing fully. Read one chapter. Cook one meal. Listen to one song with full attention. Depth creates satisfaction in a way that shallow stimulation never can. Move 2. Practice conscious comparison. You cannot completely stop comparing. The brain does it automatically, but you can modify how you respond. When you see someone doing well, instead of thinking, they are better than me, try, they are ahead in this area. That shows what is possible. What part of this do I actually want? And what part is just social pressure? And remember, you are comparing your internal world to their external presentation. You have access to your doubts, your fears, your failures. You do not have access to theirs. So your comparison is not fair. You can also intentionally compare differently. Compare yourself today to yourself 1 year ago. How have you grown? What have you learned? What patterns have started to change? This kind of comparison can fill you with a quiet pride instead of emptiness. Move 3. Redefine success in personal terms. If you only use the default script of money, status, and consumption, you will probably end up feeling empty even if you win. Take time to write, maybe in a notebook. For me, a successful life means, and include things like how you want to feel, the kind of relationships you want, the kind of person you want to be, the impact you want to have, even if small. Maybe your success includes being a present parent, having time for art, living with integrity, maintaining your health, helping a specific group of people. When your definition of success is more complete, your actions can be aligned with something that actually feeds your soul. Move 4. Rebuild some sense of real community. You may not have a perfect tribe around you right now, but you can take small steps. Join a group based on something you care about. A class, a volunteer project, a sport, a book club, a language group. Say yes a bit more to invitations that have depth, not just noise. Be the one who sends the message, who invites people for a simple coffee or walk, who asks real questions. And remember, community is not instant. It is grown through repeated small contacts, shared experiences, and time. Modern life makes it easy to stay isolated, but also gives you tools to find your people if you use them intentionally. Move 5. Protect islands of silence. You do not need hours. Start with 5 minutes. 5 minutes in the morning without your phone. Just breathing or journaling or looking at the sky. 5 minutes before bed to review your day, to feel your emotions, to say thank you for something, or to ask yourself, what did I live today that really mattered? Silence is not empty. It is space where you can hear yourself. Over time, these small islands of silence can reconnect you with an inner life that modern speed has buried. Move 6. Commit to something. When everything is optional, you need to choose where to plant your roots. Commitment can feel scary because it means letting go of other options. But without commitment, nothing deep grows. Commit to a practice, to a project, to a person, to a path, not blindly, but consciously. You can still adjust later, but for now, you give your energy to something specific. This creates a sense of continuity and direction that pushes back against emptiness. Move 7. Search for meaning in service, creation, and connection. Meaning does not always arrive as a big revelation. Often it is found in simple acts, helping someone without posting about it, creating something that did not exist before, listening deeply to another human being, doing your work with care. Ask yourself, where do I feel that what I do matters to someone, even in a small way? Do a bit more of that. Meaning is not always glamorous, but it is what makes the difference between a busy life and a fulfilled one. To close, remember this. If modern life feels empty to you, it does not mean that you are broken. It might mean that you are still sensitive enough to notice that something important is missing. In a world that constantly tells you to go faster, to buy more, to show more, you are allowed to move in another direction, to slow down a little, to go deeper instead of wider, to choose real conversations over endless notifications, to build a life that makes sense from the inside. You cannot change the whole system alone, but you can refuse to let it shape you completely. One less hour of empty scrolling, one more hour of something that matters, one honest definition of success, one brave step towards community, one quiet moment with yourself. These small choices do not look dramatic on the outside, but inside, they slowly transform an empty life of distraction into a meaningful life of presence. See you next time.